What's good, everybody? This your boy Bill Mahari here, representing MehariNation Sports Podcast. Salute to the entire LDBC. Salute to the greater basketball and boxing community. Welcome to episode 5 of Basketball Conversation, where we talk about everything basketball around the NBA, college, you name it, and we do historical talk. Sorry I was a little late here tonight, guys. I just watched BFTB dispose another troll in a way that I have never seen him get disposed like that ever. I mean, salute to BFTB boxing, the troll killer. That's where the place where trolls go to die. And boy, did that troll die in a slow, painful death. So that's all you need to know. So let's get down to it. And also appreciate to all my subscribers and all my supporters out there. Putting all the likes and all the different opinions out there, man. You know what I'm saying? We are 317 subscribers. Let's keep on pushing. So, got a lot of stuff to talk about basketball this week. We're going to discuss about Lonzo Ball finally becoming his own man, reviews on Zion Williamson's first two preseason games and his performance against the Jazz tonight. Um, Daryl Morey's controversial comments on Hong Kong. Um, Michael Porter's potential, with the Denver Nuggets, and also the major disrespect of the Black Mamba. And as for historical talk, I will also talk to you guys about my favorite NBA Final Series of all time. Also, the greatest team, either NBA or NCAA, to never win a national championship. And my huge rant we're going to talk about is changing the criteria of the Basketball Hall of Fame. So we got a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about here tonight. So I got my drink, got my Powerade drink, making sure my throat is fresh, and we ready to go. So let's do it. So let's get down to it here, guys. So I've been listening to some various videos lately. Salute to Ticket TV put out a video this afternoon. Apparently, Mr. LeVar Ball never learns to stop running his mouth because he think people are still paying attention to him. To the last bit of people that still believe in this guy, he flat out said that the New Orleans Pelicans will win the NBA championship this season. Well, I will say this though. I will say this. I can't short end LeVar when it comes to his own ego and his own confidence. But to be honest with you, man, you have more stuff to worry about on your plate, especially the impending lawsuits that you're going through right now, not just with your son, but also with Mr. Foster there too, of embezzling money through the big baller brand for your own personal expenses, though, bro. So, dude, you just need to sit down and be quiet somewhere. You know why? Because nobody is checking you anymore. Everybody knows at this point right now you a clown. All you do is talk about what you're gonna do, but you made up all this money in the world and you've never taken the opportunity to just clean your damn teeth. Just completely disgusted. But this is not about LeVar. This is about Lonzo Ball. So, as most of you guys know, Lonzo Ball finally distances himself from his dad, and now he's becoming his own man now. He's taking charge of his own career. He's finally said goodbye to Big Baller Brand, and he and based on what we're seeing in the lawsuits too, unfortunately, Lonzo Ball wants that money back that basically was stolen from him. So the one thing that I will say about that is this: I'm glad that Lonzo Ball is being his own man. This is something he should have done a long time ago, but it's better late than never. My concern is going to be is has the damage been done? Because the rats out on Lonzo Ball. You know, the guy has not been able to prove that he can shoot the ball or play consistently at a high level, but also his confidence has to be shot there too. All that controversy he went through in LA, I mean, it gets to a person's head, to tell you the truth. It gets to a person's head. And more importantly, to that, it's a very unfortunate situation that he's going to go through that right now. But now that he has an opportunity to play in a different team with another talent, we'll see what he can try. We'll see what he could put together. But right now, he's not. He still has not put it together. Now, I will say this: this is just preseason, so anything can change when the regular season starts. But Lonzo Ball better show some consistency and major progression because his NBA career is on life support. If he don't get it done this year, this could be the beginning of the end of his NBA career. You understand what I'm saying? The excuses are over now. All right. He's got to prove that he can basically hit jump shots consistently. He can maintain his mental confidence. But listen, he can still pass the ball efficiently. He knows how to, run the floor. But it's all about the confidence, man. It's all about the confidence in your head. How can you handle going through adversity? When you keep missing shots, are you confident enough to take your next one? You know, he did the right thing by just not speaking to his father anymore and just letting him, be a fool. But more importantly, taking charge of his own career is something he should have done a long time ago. But I fear that the damage has been done. The damage has already been done. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Because I want to see Lonzo Ball have a long career in the NBA. I really do. Now we're gonna get into the next subject in hand here, guys. Mr. Zion Williamson. Now, as most of you people have already heard, I have been heavily impressed with Zion Williamson's first few games of the preseason. And, this guy's been attracting a lot of haters, particularly what Shannon Sharp said on the Undisputed a couple of days ago when he said that all Zion Williamson do is just dunk the ball. Really? Listen, Zion Williamson is 6'7", 285 with pure muscle and athleticism coming right at you, okay? You say that all you do is dunk and do layups. Really? Have you ever has Shannon even taken the opportunity to sit down and watch even a full game with Zion Williamson? Here's the thing though. Zion Williamson is basically probably one of the most gifted athletes we've seen in basketball right now. Okay? I think people don't give him enough credit for how smart he is as a basketball player because he makes good decisions good decisions in his passing and his playmaking. Okay, he has a very smart basketball IQ. When he makes passes, he doesn't just throw the passes; he throws the correct pass in the specific spot on the floor where the person receiving the pass, all he has to do is just go ahead and finish the play by making the basket. So he's a guy that can do more than what people tend to believe that he can do. Now, against the Utah Jazz, he had 26 points and he was mostly hitting jump shots because he basically wanted to send the message line to Shannon Sharp that hey, I can actually do more than just dunk the ball all the time. And it doesn't matter how many times he dunks the ball a game. A dunk is still 2 points at the end of the day. So dismiss me with all this notion that all he does is dunk because he could do so much more. Now, if he stays healthy throughout the majority of his career and learns how to change and adapt his body as he gets older, then we're looking at one of the great players in basketball history. Now, we had to wait and see how his career develops, okay? Because we've seen great players that showed that kind of huge potential, and unfortunately, either injury or something controversial outside of basketball delayed the potential that he could have been. So we really need to see how he progresses as his career moves forward. Now, his performances have been very, very impressive. You know what I mean? Now, I tend to believe that he's going to adjust very well to the open style play of the NBA. But if the Pelicans do make the playoffs, then teams are going to scheme him and they're going to try different defensive assignments to try to delay his ability to get to the basket. But it's hard to do when you're going against a guy who's 285, who has freakish athleticism. I mean, it's just unreal. So we'll see how the league is going to adjust to how he plays. So that's just how I kind of feel about his performances. Now, how I grade it, I would give him probably a B plus right now. Even though right now it's just preseason, I give him a B plus right now because he's really showing the skills that he's bringing into the table. You know, when the season starts. Now, how the New Orleans Pelicans were going to play through the towns of Williamson, we'll see what happens. But I truly believe in my heart of hearts that this guy is going to be one of the best players in the league as his career progresses. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to when he starts his NBA career. And don't forget, guys, the NBA season starts next week. Okay, so we're gonna see who's gonna be one of the pretenders, who's gonna be one of the contenders, and who's gonna be one of the uprising stars in the NBA. And I can tell you this right now: Zion Williamson, barring injury, is a lock for Rookie of the Year. Barring injury. That's better. Lawrence Williams, the law is in the building. What's good, brother? How you doing, man? Yeah, man. So I'm very proud of what I've seen in Zion Williamson. I'm not too surprised how he's been able to perform, but I can't wait when the season starts how he'll play. It's gonna be good. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about there too is also the controversial remarks of Rockets GM Daryl Morey with what he said about China. Okay, now basically, a couple of days ago, GM Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey basically posted a tweet saying that "Fight for freedom, stand for Hong Kong." Now, what is the context of this tweet? Well, allow me to explain. The Administrative Republic of China has been plagued through a series of protests fighting for democracy within the last 4 months. This was ignited by extraditions to the mainland of China, which plans for those extraditions have now been halted. Okay, this fuels big fears of liberties in China, getting destroyed in Hong Kong because of the 50-year one country two system model that has been implemented before in 1997 passing the baton from the UK. Now, in the aftermath of that tweet, obviously Mr. Daryl Morey took down the tweet and issued a traction of what he was basically saying. But right now, the country of China is essentially taking down all of his NBA ads and also canceling, NBA care events with various teams, and they just did it for they did it to the Los Angeles Lakers too. So right now, China is basically is slowly trying to distance themselves from the NBA right now, but that's not going to be easy because a lot of non-Chinese basketball fans love them the NBA, so not going to be easy. What's up, Ag Reacher, my New York brother? What's good, man? I hope you're ready. I hope you're hungry. Yeah, man. So let's get back to this, okay? Let's get back to this, okay? So obviously, the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, basically voiced his support of players and executives expressing their views and opinions. Okay, now what I will say too is this: the NBA, unlike the National Football League, encourages his players to speak out, on various issues and various political opinions that have been going on in this country. Okay, unlike the NFL, which oppresses their players and executives from expressing their viewpoints in the wake of the Colin Kaepernick national anthem issue. Okay, now I've always been a huge supporter of Colin Kaepernick since day one because he did absolutely nothing wrong. But you mean to tell me that a guy that has basically committed rape like Ben Roethlisberger, he can still have a job in the NFL? Get out of here with that. I don't want to hear all that standards. But let me not get sidetracked. Let me stay focused on the topic at hand here. Now, recently I saw a video on Ticket TV basically cheering for the firing of Darren Moore in place of what happened to Carmelo Anthony. Totally understandable. I totally get it, but I don't think the Rockets are gonna plan on firing this dude for that reason. Okay. Now, what I was saying before though too is the commissioner Adam Silver is a type of person that allows players to express their real views and opinions, and also said on quote from USA Today that that the league will not issue an apology to China. But this is where the story actually turns a 360. Okay, the commissioner all of a sudden had a change of heart and basically said that they want to schedule a meeting with Chinese officials, to basically discuss about the tweet and about the statements that Daryl Morey made. Okay, so I don't have the background knowledge of what's going on in China right now, but I will say this: this is actually much more of a deeper issue than we tend to realize. And I believe it's going to get uglier from here. Now, if the NBA wants to distance themselves from it, then probably just stick back to what you said before and then just move on from it. But because the commissioner decided to, wanted to change hard and wanted to speak with Chinese government officials to discuss about the issue, now it's becoming much more of a bigger issue than it already is. So honestly, though, man, I think the Rockets should just do themselves a PR saving move. This basically remove Daryl Morey, and just rid themselves from all controversy if that's what it was tended to be. So obviously this is actually a deeper, touchier story that it's gonna have to wait and see how it will play out. But the way that looks, it's actually gonna turn out to be much more uglier than it turns out to be. So that's my issue. That's my stance on that. Okay. Now, the next thing we're also going to talk about is also the about the return of Michael Porter. Okay. Now, Michael Porter missed his entire rookie year due to back surgery. Okay. Now, I seen Michael Porter what he was able to do in Missouri. I'm telling you right now, if Michael Porter Jr. stays healthy the majority of next season, I think the Denver Nuggets have a very good opportunity to basically be one of the elite teams in the West. Okay, they got the front line to compete there, but if Michael Porter can stay healthy and be that missing piece to the puzzle, I think the Denver Nuggets have a great opportunity to push, probably get themselves out of the West and probably get to the finals. If basically if they can stay healthy and play consistently. Now the Nuggets last year showed what they showed their potential, what they can do, but we're gonna see how this Nuggets team plays now, since they're gonna be one of the main favorites in the Western Conference. We're gonna see what happens with that, but I'll tell you this though: if Michael Porter Jr. stays healthy, continues to improve his game, I'm telling you, the Denver Nuggets are going to put themselves in the mix of contenders in the West with the Blazers, with the Clippers, the Lakers, and then you still got to contend with the Warriors too. Even though they're going to be in a bit of a rebuilding mode, after losing Kevin Durant. Okay, and then you also got the other up and coming teams like the Sacramento Kings, the New Orleans Pelicans too. It's actually going to be very, very interesting out in the West though too. So, you know, it's really going to be very, very interesting as this whole thing progresses though too. So, what I'm saying? So, I'm very impressed with what I saw from Michael Porter. I'm hoping that he continues to stay healthy, and we'll see what happens from there. So, salute to him, putting in much of work. And also, another thing though too, and I actually forgot to put this in there too. Salute to Ben Simmons finally making his first ever 3-pointer of his NBA career. Yay! It's about time you started to make a 3-pointer, because dude, I was watching Ben Simmons' practice tapes throughout the whole offseason, basically pulling up 3-point shots, mid-range jumpers, working on his post game. Like, bro, this is the kind of stuff you should have been doing when you were basically a little kid learning how to play the game of basketball. Okay, you can't tell me that you're going to be a point guard in this league and you can't shoot the basketball. Come on, bro. But it's better late than never at this point. And I was very proud that he was able to make that 3-pointer. But if he could at least be a 30% 3-point shooter, then is the Philadelphia Sixers have a great opportunity to come out of the Eastern Conference. Okay. And this is basically make or break year for both the Philadelphia 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm gonna tell you why. Both these teams know what's at stake now because of the fact that the Warriors are a bit of the downside heading into this upcoming season. It's open season for all the other top players to have to go for the elusive championship. And I'll tell you this though, right now, I can't wait for all to see what all the matchups are and what kind of storyline compelling that's going to come out of it. But congratulations on Ben Simmons. He finally made his first ever 3-pointer of his NBA career. And so hopefully this will motivate him to continue to shoot more threes down the line. So we'll see how it happens though. But I just wanted to get that out there too. Now on to the next subject at hand. The hatred for the Black Mamba. Now, just on Tuesday, Kevin Durant was tweeting with another person saying that where do you replace Kobe Bryant? And he said top 5, and I agree with him. But see, the problem I'm having with this whole top 5 thing is way too subjective because it's basically based off of favoritism or just based on position or your places in history. Now, to me, Kobe Bryant is the reflection of Michael Jordan. Okay, when he came into the NBA, he came into the NBA because he wanted to compete against Michael Jordan. Okay, at a young age, and basically Kobe Bryant was taken under Michael Jordan's wing. He showed him the ropes, showed him some of his moves, and became one of the great players in NBA history. But the amount of disrespect I've been seeing around, through other social media outlets about Kobe Bryant, saying he's not a top 100 player in the NBA. Listen, y'all need to stop. Y'all need to get out of your feelings with that. Get out of your feelings with that because Kobe Bryant, if you talk to any other player in the NBA right now, Kobe Bryant belongs in the top 5 of greatest players in NBA history. Okay, now there's no bloody reason at all for any fan to disrespect the Black Mamba. All right, tell me any other player right now that did a lot of the same accomplishments that Kobe Bryant has. I'll wait. I'll wait till somebody brings up that conversation. I will burn them to the ground with that. So, Mr. King Louis, what's going on, brother? How you doing, my man? He says Kobe better than Bron. So if Kobe ain't top 5, LeBron ain't 5 either. Uh, let me read it again. He said Kobe better than Bron. Okay. So if Kobe ain't top 5, Bron ain't 5. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Okay. Well, yeah. Listen, I always put Kobe Bryant in my top in the top 5. Okay. Listen, if he belongs in that conversation now, if that's the thing though, man. It's like, bro, quit with this disrespect to Kobe Bryant, okay? This I never seen a great player never getting the respect that he deserves than Kobe Bryant, okay? This guy plays with an edge and plays with a killer mentality every single night he played, okay? This was a kid that came out of high school who wanted to compete against Michael Jordan, okay? If that ain't competitive drive, I don't know what is. All right. Brooklyn Child Boxing, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Hey, y'all go ahead and subscribe to Brooklyn Child Boxing. He's putting out good videos right now, good commentary in the sport of boxing. Go ahead and check it out. So people need to get out of their feelings when it comes to Kobe, okay? This is a guy that actually is basically the reflection of Michael Jordan, okay? Because when both of them were getting a little older, they adapted their game and basically, made themselves much more an effective player as they got older. Tell me what other player has been able to do that, okay? And plus, he's got 5 rings, multiple All Star appearances. I mean, the guy did it all in his NBA career, and he's really well respected. Listen, I grew up during the Kobe era, from his rookie year up until his retirement. And I can tell you right now, Kobe Bryant belongs in that top five conversation. Okay. Broken Child Boxing said, who's disrespecting Kobe? Uh, it's been basically people, casual people who don't know nothing about the sport. Okay. Now, I just basically said that somebody tweeted at Kevin Durant, say, where do you put Kobe Bryant in as your favorite player? And he said he's basically top five best players in the game. And absolutely, Kevin Durant is 100% correct. Because at the end, listen, Kobe Bryant is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, bar none. Okay, and the fact that this guy put in great excellence throughout the 16 years that he put in for the LA Lakers is a testament of how great he is. So a lot of casual people, get out of your feelings and show this man this respect. That's all you need to do. Understand? So, enough of that. Now we're gonna get into the historical section of this show, where we go ahead and talk about all the historical stuff in basketball. Okay, so I'm gonna start to talk to you guys about my favorite NBA Finals series of all time. Okay, now my favorite NBA Finals series of all time is the 1998 NBA Finals, the second meeting between the Utah Jazz and the Chicago Bulls. Okay, Brooklyn Top Boxing says, I started watching ball since 1996, the greatest draft class ever. Oh yeah, that was a deep draft class. A lot of Hall of Famers in that draft class. But you know what really irks me about that 96 draft class, Brooklyn Child Boxing? My Minnesota Timberwolves drafted Ray Allen with the fifth pick in the draft, but then the Milwaukee Bucks drafted Stephon Marbury, and then the Timberwolves traded Ray Allen to the Bucks, and they basically acquired Stephon Marbury, hoping that Marbury and Garnett would be the next 1-2 combination in that Western Conference. All right, so that trade to this day really irks me the most about my Timberwolves to this day. Other than the Curry draft class, where we drafted 2 point guards that didn't even last long in this league. You know, Johnny Finn, 3 years, really, and then Ricky Rubio, we had to wait 2 years before he decided to come over to America to play with the Timberwolves. Unbelievable, man, unbelievable. But let's get back to this work. Let's get back to this work. The 1998 NBA Finals was my all-time favorite NBA Finals series because it was basically the last Finals appearance for the Chicago Bulls, for Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, uh, basically the final season of Phil Jackson in Chicago, Dennis Rodman. I mean, everybody was leaving the Bulls after the 97-98 season. So when any so when anyone talks to you about that series, it was all about finality. And the Utah Jazz that year in '97, they were so close. They were so close of winning their first NBA championship in '97 through the missed free throws and basically close losses in that series, though, too. Now that year, both teams had the same identical records, other than the fact that the Jazz beat the Bulls twice in the regular season. So the Jazz had the home court advantage. So let me go ahead and check out the chat real quick before I continue the discussion. Brooklyn Child Boxing says Marbury is one of my favorite player. Is my favorite player ever. Yeah, of course I'm sure he is. I never liked Marbury. I always thought Marbury was a very selfish player. You know what I mean? Listen, he was traded to New Jersey, and the Nets never made the playoffs. And then when traded him for Jason Kidd, the Nets made the playoff made the finals 2 straight years. Enough said. King Louis, two boxing said that Carl Anthony down is a wasted pick too. I disagree. I think if they would have drafted Jahlil Okafor, that would have been a wasteful pick. Because Jahlil Okafor right now, he's still trying to find his niche in the NBA right now. So let me see where's his team. What's his new team now? Yeah, now he's plays for the New Orleans Pelicans now with Zion Williamson now. So Jaleel Okafor, when he basically was drafted into the NBA, he was supposed to be the next Tim Duncan, and right now he hasn't even found his niche yet because he's been moving from team to team. So it is what it is, though, man. But I always will stick by the Cat pick. It was still a good pick, and Cat's going to be a really good player. But Minnesota always finds ways to mess things up when it comes to decent talent, and it's not from the executives now; it's from the ownership too. You gave the max contract to Andrew Wiggins, who never really deserved it. Come on, bro. Absolutely ridiculous, though, man. Brooklyn Chopbox says, I'm a Marbury fanboy. LOL. I don't care about his shortcomings. That's cool. That's cool. I have no problem with that. Listen. Listen. I'm gonna say this though too. The Timberwolves should have never given that massive contract to Kevin Garnett. That's what really started it. Okay, if they wanted to make sure that both those guys were secured, they at least could have given at least even-handed contracts to make sure that they stayed happy. But you know, Kevin McHale gave that massive contract to KG, and essentially Marbury wanted the same money, and you know, he they weren't able to give it to him, and then he basically forced a trade. He said, "Cat soft." Yeah, sadly, especially listen when you walk into the practice, when you walk into practice, and then basically you know what I mean. But when Jimmy Butler challenges your manhood, yeah, man, not sounding good, bro. Not sounding good. No, no, no. Especially when it comes to Jimmy Butler taking away one of your Instagram girls. Boy, that sucks, man. That really sucks. Okay, and then Brooklyn Child Boxer say Okafor is a major disappointment. I thought he would be a beast. Me too. I really thought he was gonna be he's gonna be a future talent though, man. But sometimes young players weren't able to find their niche and find a good spot for themselves to try to really develop their skills. And that's one of the big downsides of the huge one and done deal because play a college player could probably make a lot of money in the draft, but are they truly ready for the challenge and the experience of the pro game? And unfortunately, Jalil Okafor hasn't found his niche, and now he's struggling to keep himself relevant in the league. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But let's get back to this work. So that year, 1998, was the last time we would have that everybody in their mama could see that Bulls team. Okay. Now, the games were actually pretty exciting. Four of those games were actually close games. Okay. Malone basically couldn't find a shot to save his life. And he was struggling the first two games. But when the Jazz moved the series when the series got moved to Chicago, Malone finally said no more. He scored 38 points in that game 5 when the Bulls were up 3-1 and ready to celebrate a championship on their home floor. And then the Bulls lost the game, and it basically went down to a game 6. Now, there were a lot of drama ending into that game 6. Scottie Pippen's back was a total wreck from the amount of abuse that he put on himself for all the times he's been taking a lot of charges and playing defense. So now his back is wrecked. He's not at 100%. And then Michael Jordan's had to put in more minutes and take more shots than any other time during any other time in the year. And they're relying on a 35-year-old Jordan to carry the load. So not easy. But Michael put up a mixed bag, scoring 45 points in that game. But anytime that he went up against Brian Russell, he basically ruined the man. Post up shots, fadeaway jumpers, you name it. Anytime that Russell defended against Jordan, it was basically money in the bank for Michael. But when the game was entering into the final minutes, Stockton hit the three to give the Jazz a 3-point lead. Also, one more thing. It did feature a controversial moment where Howard Isley made the three-pointer midway through the second quarter, but then Dick Pavetta waved the basket off when actually Howard Isley made that three-pointer on time, but because there was no replay back in 1998, they couldn't review it. And then afterwards, that was a huge moment in that game because those 3 points were actually one of the big differences in the game. But let's get back into this. One of my favorite moment in NBA history. Now, the Jazz were up by 3 after the John Stockton 3-pointer. Okay, so the Jazz were up by 3. So then Michael Jordan basically took the inbound pass, drove right, right down the lane, hit the layup there to cut the lead to 1. Okay, now the Jazz were going to get back on their offensive end. They were going to bring the ball back into the hands in the post to Karl Malone and then spread the floor with shooters and basically give Malone a chance to work in the paint. But as Hornacek was trying to set the screen, Michael was not cleared through the screen, okay? So he basically was working on the blind side of Karl Malone and stripped him from behind. Clean steal. And basically forced Malone to hit the deck hard. So we're going down to the 17 seconds. And basically, it was all comes down to this. One chance to give the Bulls their sixth championship. And Michael Jordan put up one of the most lethal crossovers you'll ever see in basketball history, where he basically drove right, hit the crossover step back move, forced Ryan Russell to break his ankles, and then drilled the jumper with ease. And one of the biggest poses in NBA history about the shot pose. To this day, that same moment is on my laptop screen, actually laptop background screen. Okay, that is my all-time favorite moment. Not only did Michael Jordan put the team on his back, but gave us a Hollywood ending to basically punch the ticket of the Chicago Bulls career. And then after that, the Bulls won their sixth championship in 8 seasons. And then ultimately, months later, after the lockout was concluded, Michael retired again before returning back to the Wizards. And then Pippen was basically traded to the Rockets. And then Dennis Rodman was released. And every one of those pieces, basically went to different teams after that. But that series was just the marquee series of the 90s. Okay. It was filled with drama, anticipation, storyline, and perhaps one of the greatest moments in NBA history. And to this day, I, I still watch the pose with pride and joy as a Chicago Bulls fan. Love it, love it, love it. So let's go ahead and check out the chat real quick. King Louis says Okafor only had 1 year to prove himself with Philly. Well, that was during the Sam Presti days where he would basically stockpile draft picks, for I should say he stockpiled losses for higher draft picks, but he drafted 2 centers. He drafted Embiid, which was a really good pick, and then he drafted Jahlil Okafor. Not the wisest draft picks though, but it is what it is. Brooklyn Child Boxer said, I miss 90s basketball. Today's basketball is soft. Definitely agreed. He also said the Lakers and Celtics series back in 2010 was good. I like that series too. It was a very underrated series though too. I also like the 2011 series, especially that comeback in game 2 where the Mavericks were down by 15 heading into the fourth quarter. Was it? Yeah, it was 15. Yeah, it was down by 15 heading into the fourth quarter, and then the Mavericks pull off an amazing comeback. Oh man, you know what? You know what I felt guilty for? I felt guilty because I changed the channel because I assumed that the Heat was going to blow the Mavericks out of the building. But it goes to show you that no game is over until the final whistle. I should say until the final horn. So yeah, it was great. Love that series too. But it will never ever beat the 1998 NBA Finals. And to this day, it will forever be my all-time favorite series in NBA Finals history, bar none. Yeah, that sounds better. Okay, now we're gonna get into the subject about greatest teams never to win a championship. Okay, now there are several teams that I always felt that they were great teams, and but just never could get to that promised land. One of my favorite teams of Excuse me 1 second. There you go. My favorite NBA team that never ever won an NBA championship was the 2001 2002 Sacramento Kings. That team, man, that team was exciting to watch. They with Mike Bibby, Doug Christie, Peja Stojakovic, Chris Webber, and Vlade Divac. I'll tell you this though, the the referees hosed that series against the Los Angeles Lakers, but they shot themselves in the foot with all the missed free throws. Blowing that comeback in Game 4 and laying an egg in Game 7. But they were a team that was 61-21 throughout the entire regular season, but they had the home court advantage against the defending champion Lakers and fell short. And to this day, I contend that if it wasn't for bad officiating, you know, I think the Sacramento Kings would probably beat the Lakers. I'm talking about the Game 6 where the Lakers shot 27 free throws in that fourth quarter. Like, are you kidding? You're basically intentionally drawing fouls, you know, horrible calls there too to send the Lakers to the free throw line to try to extend the series to a Game 7. That was at the time when I felt that the NBA was starting to rate games now for television ratings. And that Sacramento team, man, they got hosed. Definitely they got hosed, man. They should have had an opportunity to get to the finals and win a championship. But hey, you can only play the games that count, and unfortunately, they just fell short. Let's check out the chat real quick. King Louis said, then Nerns Noel. Oh, yeah. That was a really bad draft pick, though. But, that was basically what the Sixers were at the time. Broken Child Boxer said, a team that I think about a lot were those early 2000 teams. The best teams never to win a championship. Okay, well, what were your teams that you felt that they should have won the title? Because I already mentioned the Kings. You could also say that the Nets had opportunities though too, but they weren't as deeply talented as the Lakers and the Spurs were during that period too. So, you know, you could probably say the Nets or even the 99 2000 Portland Trail Blazers with that D team with Pippen, Stoudemire, Steve Smith, Rasheed Wallace, Arvydas Sabonis, Brian Grant. That was a really deep team, and they came back from a 3-1 deficit to force a Game 7 against Shaq and Kobe and the Lakers, and they were up by 17 heading into the fourth quarter, and they blew that lead away. Boy, that was heartbreaking. But yeah, so those are the teams that I felt that had the opportunity to win that missed the opportunity to win a championship. Now, I wanted to basically end this conversation about a little rant that I've been thinking about, the last few days. Now, the thing that I've been really disturbed about the Basketball Hall of Fame is the criteria for the Hall of Fame to me is, the criteria for the Hall of Fame is it's basically been a bit too lenient in terms of the people that they put in. Um, I think to me the Hall of Fame needs to have different criteria. My theory is that did you had a long sustained career? Did your game, help impact and influence the sport? And I always felt that the Hall of Fame, brings people in that basically were sympathy selections. Um, Most notably Grant Hill. Now, I love Grant Hill. He was a really great player. Okay, but if you really want to look at his career on site, most of his prime after Detroit was basically nursing his ankle injury, and we just never saw what his career could have been if it wasn't for the ankle injuries. I've already heard people say that Penny Hardaway should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna tell you right now, as much as I love Penny Hardaway in his prime, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if any of you kids have never seen Penny Hardaway play, go to YouTube, watch some of his games. He was phenomenal, but he had this devastating knee injury, and his athleticism was basically gone. He was never the same player after that. Okay, so if we're gonna talk about changing the criteria of the Hall of Fame, to me, it has to be no doubt first ballot Hall of Famers. Okay, it has to be, did your game? Do you? Does the compliment? Does the accomplishments, the awards, duplicate your impact towards the game? And there are a lot of names. There were a lot of names in that Hall of Fame class a year ago that I just did not feel for. Let me type. Let me type in the class real quick. Let's see, 2018 Hall of Fame class. Excuse me. Hold on. So, the 2018 draft class. So, we had a very loaded class. We had Ray Allen, undisputedly, Jason Kidd, absolutely. Um, but you know, Steve Nash. I'll tell you this a little about Steve Nash. As much as I love Steve Nash, his resume was a bit shaky to me. Yes, he won back-to-back MVPs, but that was after the league started to change, defenses that took away the physicality of defense. Now, if they didn't take away the physicality of defense back in the mid 2000s, would he have won those back-to-back MVPs? That's yet to be seen. And one of those MVP awards, it was basically robbed from Shaq because Shaq put up excellent numbers over Steve Nash, but didn't get MVP honors. Just a thought that I don't know. Steve Nash's case is a very tricky one, but I don't have a problem with him in the Hall of Fame. Now, Brooklyn Child Boxing asked a very good question. Do you think Robin is a Hall of Famer? I had a heated debate with a friend of mine. At first, I said no, but now I say yes. Absolutely, he's a Hall of Famer. I think, to me, the Hall of Fame is not just on the accomplishments alone. It's about did your skill, did your skill set, and your build and your basically your intangibles to the game help make an impact. Dennis Rodman, absolutely. The guy was all hustle, uh, fantastic rebounder, great defender. Particularly when he was in Detroit, he was probably the best defender I've ever seen. That can guard any position out on the floor and was very quick. He knew how to take charges, and he was very, very smart. So yeah, he definitely is a Hall of Famer. Now, Robert Ory's case is not. Listen, I know he won 7 championships, but was he the star player of those 7 championship teams? No, he wasn't. He was mostly a role player that did his role and made big shots when his teams needed him to do it the most. I definitely agree with that. But if we're talking about his longevity of accomplishments and impact to the game, yes, he made clutch shots. But was he a consistent 15 to 20 point scorer in his career? No, he wasn't. So I can't put somebody in there who basically his accomplishments, despite the championships, does his accomplishments, duplicate what he did for the game? And to that, I say no. Robert Ory does not belong in my Hall of Fame. I know one guy, that deserves that basically belongs into the Hall of Fame, Tim Hardaway. But the reason why Tim Hardaway is not in the Hall of Fame is because he made at LD basically he made anti homosexual comments to the LGBT community a couple of years ago, and unfortunately people have not forgotten about that, and this is one of the reasons why Tim Hardaway's name has not been in the Hall of Fame. Tim Hardaway should be in. um I know a lot of good players though too that should be in. Mark Aguirre should be in the Hall of Fame too. you know I also think that the guy that also deserves to also be in the speech consideration into the Hall of Fame though too. What's a player that also deserves consideration for the Hall of Fame? Shoot, what else there? Another player that also deserves the Hall of Fame. I think. I think to me, I think another player that also deserves some consideration in the Hall of Fame, Glenn Rice too. Now that's going to be a difficult case for me to bank on, but Glenn Rice is one of the most consistent shooters in NBA history, and won it, and basically had a great career in Michigan, winning the national championship and winning a championship in the NBA too. So that is what it is, though, man. But you know, that's just one of my few cases there. But I would make a strong case for Tim Hardaway to go into the Hall of Fame. His crossovers really help influence how point guards, dribble the basketball, and more importantly, how to break down their defenders. His first UTEP step was one of the most lethal crossovers that it's ever seen before Allen Iverson, his crossover came in when he came into the league. So Tim Hardaway should be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt in my mind. And I hope that somewhere down the line, people can basically, you know, time heals wounds, and basically, he served his punishment. He deserves to be basically honored for what he did to basketball. So let's go and get it. Let's check out this stat here. Rod X was good, brother. He said Robin's a top five all-time defender. Definitely agreed. Dark Drew said peace. Brooklyn Child says, how does Divac get in before Chris Webber? Thank you. Thank you very much, Brooklyn Child Boxing. Chris Webber always, listen, any team that Chris Webber was on throughout his career, all of them made the playoffs. So how is it that his name's not even mentioned in the Hall of Fame? But I think it has a lot to do with the Michigan scandal that took place after he left. But it should not be indicted against him, because when he was in Sacramento, he was a franchise player, and he got him with at least one game away from the NBA Finals until he too ran into Shaq and Kobe. So yes, Chris Webber is a Hall of Famer, no doubt. Also, Brooklyn Child Boston says, or he's not a Hall of Famer. He's a very good role player. Exactly. Listen, he was not. Listen, he was not the vocal point. He was not the main focus on his seven championship teams. He was basically the role player that did his job, rebounded, played defense, and hit the clutch shots. But his but he never won any individual conference after that. So he definitely should not be in there. Rodek says, or is an all-time great role player, not a Hall of Famer. Brooklyn Shaw Boxer said, do you think Rasheed Wallace is a Hall of Famer? That's a good debate right there. I don't know. Rasheed, to me, is a very hard case, because I don't know. Listen, when his mind was focused, he was basically one of the best post players in the game. But he had the reputation for basically, cussing out at the officials and everything else in between. You know what I mean? So I just can't put in Chris Webber into the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, Rasheed Wallace in. Rasheed Wallace is basically a difficult case. P Money said Rasheed Webber should have been on the first ballot. Definitely agreed, man. I think Chris Webber should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer in my eyes. But I think by next year, they should probably put him into the Hall of Fame. If they don't, something's going on here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hold on 1 second. So yeah, for all the new people that just coming in though too, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get all the latest notifications you know, when I go live there too. But this has been a very fun conversation to talk about. Now, another player that also deserves some consideration into the Hall of Fame though too. Now, it might be a tough case for some, but I think that too Alvin Robertson should also get some consideration into the Hall of Fame though too. Because he was one of the best small guards who was basically intimidating and actually was really a very good defender though too. So he should probably get some consideration though too. So, but we'll see. But that's just one of my opinions. Brooklyn P and Bunny says, cool and family. Had to talk this NBA talk. Yeah. Well, the season's coming up next week though too, so you know, getting excited to watch all the rookies play. I can't wait to see RJ Barrett play though too. I'm telling you, I'll tell you this though too. RJ Barrett right now has been very, very impressive, and I think that if he is surrounded with good pieces around him, I think the New York Knicks could be a very attractive team. You know what I mean? But it's going to be very interesting how RJ Barrett's going to really adjust in the NBA. He's going to do very well, in my opinion. And Brooklyn Top Five says, you know what? Rasheed Wallace is a Hall of Famer. I disagree. I think Rasheed Wallace didn't do enough in his career to warrant Hall of Fame status. You know what I mean? Because he had a good peak when he was in Portland and when he was in Detroit. But in the later stages of his career, he was basically most of a stretch four or stretch five. You know what I mean? But Chris Webber did a lot more in his career than Rasheed Wallace did, even though Rasheed Wallace did win a championship in 2004. Darnell Kirkland, what's good, Darnell Kirkland? I haven't seen you in a minute, though, man. Good to see you. He said that it's a crime that Chris Webber isn't in the Hall of Fame. I agree. Definitely agree. I hope by next year that the Basketball Hall of Fame, gets it right and puts this man into the Hall of Fame. But that's going to be tough because, you know, I because you got a lot of other players that's going to be in the conversation too. Kobe, you know, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett down the line. So I'm hoping that soon that they will put Chris Webber's name into the Hall of Fame without going through all the political stuff that goes in there too. But yeah, Darnell Kirkland, thank you. He said that they put those European players in because they're international play, but ignored the fact that he was in the Fat Pot and played on the Olympic team. Thank you. And listen, I have no problem with those great international players that basically did well in their respective careers. But Chris Webber did a lot more in his career than those European players did. So yes, it's a complete crime that he's not into the Hall of Fame. So that's I'm telling you, bro. They need to really change the criteria of the Hall of Fame, though, too, because we can't have more sympathy, selections in the Hall of Fame anymore. It's got to be a much more of a strict, much more of a tougher selection to try to make sure that these players, listen, international or NBA level or college level, that these people are no doubt first ballot Hall of Fame, selections. There cannot be any doubt in these lists. And the last few have been a lot. There have been some doubt. Okay, So I hope that down the line that they could change the standard of voting in the Hall of Fame because let's be honest here, it's getting more ridiculous and more ridiculous by each passing day. So I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up, though, guys. But it's been a really great show to talk about all this basketball stuff. We're about a week away. We're about let's see. The NBA season starts it starts October 22nd. Okay, so we got a lot more time before the season starts, and we got a lot of expectations and also the beginning of the Zion Williamson era in the NBA. I can't wait for that, though, man. I can't wait to see how he does, though, too. And for you, Mr. Brooklyn Child Boxing, I will check out your New York Knicks, though, too, and give you my honest assessment of how RJ Barrett, looks. I think Barrett, I'll tell you this, though. I think RJ Barrett is going to be a really good player down the line, but I'm hoping that he just continues to improve his decision making because he can really score the ball. He's a really, really talented scorer. I think that if he continues to progress and keep improving as his career progresses, I think that he could be the franchise player that the Knicks desperately need to get themselves going. So I wish well and good for your New York Knicks. Hopefully there'll be some. Hopefully that they could show at least some progress instead of the same loop of some hope and then the epic letdown that happens after that. So hopefully that the good things to come for your New York Knicks. But I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down, though, guys, and call it a night. But I want to thank you guys for coming in and chopping it up, though, man. It's been a fun conversation, though, too. But I'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time for more for boxing talk there, where we're going to discuss boxing. So y'all stay tuned in for that. Go ahead and smash the like button on the way out. So this has been a Bill Mehari, represent MehariNation Sports Podcast. Salute to the entire LDBC, and we out. Have a good night, guys.